I had everything. A perfect husband, two beautiful children, a life any woman would envy. Until on a business trip, I saw him, the man I cried over for 10 years. The man I thought I'd lost forever in a tragic accident. The love of my life was alive. And when our eyes met across that hotel lobby, my body reacted in a way that terrified me. My heart raced, my legs trembled. And I realized something horrible. In 8 years of marriage, my husband had never made me feel this way. Now I wake up every day pretending everything's fine. But at night, I close my eyes and see his face. My name is Emma. I'm 35 years old. And I need to tell you what happened when the past knocked on my door, because what came next changed everything. Let me take you back to the beginning, because you need to understand who these two men are, and why this decision is tearing me apart. Daniel, my husband. God, where do I even start with Daniel? We met at a coffee shop 8 years ago. I had just gotten out of a dark period of my life. I'll get to that in a minute, and I wasn't looking for anyone. I was broken, damaged, still crying over someone I thought was gone forever. Daniel was patient. He didn't push. He just showed up. Every day at that coffee shop. With his warm smile and terrible jokes, he made me laugh when I thought I'd forgotten how. He listened to me talk about my pain without trying to fix it. He just held space for me. 6 months later, he asked me out. I said yes, but I told him the truth. I don't know if I can ever love someone the way I loved before. You know what he said? I don't need you to love me like you loved before. I just need you to let me love you now. And he did. He loved me with a patience I didn't deserve. He met my parents. He learned my favorite foods. He remembered every small detail about me. When I told him I wanted kids, he said, let's build that life together. We got married 2 years after we met. Small ceremony. Just family. It was beautiful. Not passionate, not earth-shattering, but safe, comfortable, real. Then came Sophie. Our first daughter. Daniel was incredible. He woke up for every 3 a.m. feeding. He changed diapers without complaining. He sang to her when she cried. 3 years later, we had Lucas, our little boy. Our life was perfect, actually perfect. Weekend brunches, family movie nights, Daniel coaching Lucas's soccer team, me and Sophie baking cookies on Sunday afternoons. We were the couple everyone envied, the couple that made it work. But here's what nobody tells you about a perfect marriage. Sometimes perfect isn't enough. Sometimes safe feels like settling. Sometimes comfortable feels like dying slowly. I never said it out loud. I never even let myself think it. Because Daniel didn't deserve that. He was a good man. No, he was a great man. He was everything a husband should be. He just wasn't him. Ryan. God, even saying his name makes my chest hurt. I met Ryan when I was 22 years old. I was in college, studying marketing, working part-time at a bookstore. He walked in one day looking for a book on philosophy. We talked for 3 hours. The store closed and we didn't even notice. What we had wasn't normal. It was consuming, obsessive, the kind of love that poets write about and therapists warn you against. We couldn't be apart for more than a few hours without physically aching for each other. Our first kiss happened in the rain outside that bookstore. Cliché, I know, but it was real. It was the kind of kiss that changes your DNA, the kind that ruins you for everyone else. We dated for 3 years. 3 years of the most intense, passionate, chaotic love I've ever experienced. We fought like animals and made up like the world was ending. We talked about getting married, having kids, growing old together. Ryan was an architect. He was brilliant, creative, passionate about everything he did. He saw beauty in places other people saw nothing. He made me feel like I was the center of the universe. But Ryan also had demons. He struggled with depression, dark periods where he'd disappear into himself. I tried to help, but sometimes love isn't enough to fix what's broken inside someone. Then came the accident, or what I thought was an accident. It was a Tuesday night. Ryan had been distant for a few days, dealing with something at work. He texted me, going for a drive to clear my head. "I love you more than anything." That was the last message I ever got from him. 2 hours later, the police knocked on my door. There had been an accident on Highway 42. Ryan's car went off a cliff during a storm. They found the car completely destroyed at the bottom of a ravine, but they never found a body. The police said the river probably carried it away, that it might never be found. They searched for 2 weeks. Nothing. They declared him dead after 6 months. Closed the case. Everyone told me to move on and start healing. But how do you move on when you never got to say goodbye? When there's no body to bury, when part of you keeps hoping it's all a mistake. I spent 2 years in hell. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. I saw his face everywhere. I heard his voice in crowds. I was losing my mind. That's when I met Daniel. He saved me. He pulled me out of that darkness and gave me a reason to live again, and I thought I was okay. I thought I'd healed. I thought I'd moved on. I was wrong. 3 weeks ago, my company sent me to a marketing conference in Seattle. Daniel kissed me goodbye at the airport. "Have a good trip, babe. I'll miss you." Sophie and Lucas hugged my legs. Bring Us presents Mommy. It was supposed to be a normal 3-day trip. Boring seminars. Networking dinners. Nothing special. I checked into the Emerald Hotel downtown. Nice place. Modern. Big lobby with those fancy leather couches and a bar in the corner. I was walking toward the elevators, pulling my suitcase, checking my phone for my room number. That's when I saw him. At first, I thought I was hallucinating. I stopped walking. My suitcase tipped over. My phone slipped from my hand. Because standing across the lobby, talking to someone at the concierge desk, was Ryan. Same height. Same way of standing with his weight on one leg. Same dark hair, though a bit longer now. Same profile that I'd memorized every angle of. My brain screamed, "It's not him. It can't be him. He's dead. You're seeing things. You're losing your mind again." But then he turned, and our eyes met. For a second, maybe 2, the entire world stopped. The noise of the lobby faded. Time froze. His face went completely white. His eyes widened. His mouth opened like he'd seen a ghost. Which was funny, because I thought he was the ghost. He took a step toward me, then stopped. Like he wasn't sure if I was real either. I couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would explode. My hands were shaking. My vision got blurry, and then he said my name, Emma, his voice. God, his voice. That same voice that used to whisper in my ear at 3 a.m. The voice that told me I was beautiful. The voice I thought I'd never hear again. I don't remember walking toward him. But suddenly I was standing right in front of him. Close enough to touch. Close enough to smell his cologne, different from what he used to wear, but still him. Ryan. My voice came out as a whisper. How are you? I can explain, he said quickly. His eyes were frantic, desperate. Emma, I can explain everything. Please, just can we talk? Somewhere private, you know what? I need to stop here for a second, because I need your help. I need to know I'm not crazy. If you were in my position, if someone you thought was dead for 10 years suddenly appeared in front of you, what would you do? Would you run away? Would you scream? Would you demand answers right there in the lobby? Drop a comment and tell me. Because I still don't know if what I did next was the right choice. And please, hit that subscribe button if you want to hear what happened next. Because trust me, this story gets even more insane. I should have called Daniel right then. I should have walked away. I should have done a lot of things. But I didn't. Instead, I heard myself say, "Room 847, give me 5 minutes, then come up." I went up to my room in a complete daze. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the key card to work. Once inside, I stared at myself in the mirror. "What are you doing?" I whispered to my reflection. "You have a husband, you have kids, you have a life," but I didn't leave. I waited. Exactly 5 minutes later, there was a knock on my door. I opened it. Ryan stood there, and for a moment, we just stared at each other. 10 years of grief, anger, confusion, all of it hanging in the air between us. "Kawai koming?" he asked softly. I stepped aside. He walked in slowly, like he was afraid I might disappear. He stood in the middle of the room, hands in his pockets, looking at me like I was a miracle. "You're real," he whispered. "You're really here, Emmy." I practically shouted. "I'm real, Ryan. You died. I went to your memorial service. I cried over an empty coffin. I spent 2 years thinking you were gone, and now you're just standing here like it's nothing." "Emma, please, no." I shook my head, tears streaming down my face now. "No, you don't get to please me. You need to tell me what happened, right now. Because I deserve to know why I've been mourning a ghost." He took a deep breath. His hands were shaking. I could see tears forming in his eyes, too. "That night," he started, "the night of the accident. It wasn't an accident, Emma. I drove off that cliff on purpose." The room spun. I grabbed the edge of the desk to steady myself. "What?" I was drowning. He continued, his voice breaking. "The depression, it was eating me alive. I felt like I was poisoning everything around me, poisoning you. You were so bright, so full of life, and I was dragging you down into darkness. I loved you too much to keep destroying you. So you tried to kill yourself," I whispered. "Yes." He looked down at his hands. "I drove to that cliff. I sat there for an hour, working up the courage, and then I did it. I drove straight off. But you survived. Barely. The car hit a tree on the way down. It slowed the fall just enough. I crawled out before the car went into the river. I was broken, bleeding, could barely move. But I was alive, and you just left. You let everyone think you were dead. I was in the hospital for months. Different name, paid in cash, I'd been saving. No ID. By the time I could think clearly, I realized that maybe this was better. Maybe you could finally be free of me. Maybe you could find someone who deserved you, someone who wasn't broken." I wanted to scream. I wanted to hit him. I wanted to shake him until he understood what he'd done to me. "You don't get to make that choice for me," I said through gritted teeth. "You don't get to decide what's better for me. Do you have any idea what you put me through? I thought you were the love of my life. Ryan, I thought I'd never feel that way about anyone again, and you just let me believe you were dead." "I know," he said, tears streaming down his face now. "I know, and I'm so sorry. I've regretted it every single day for 10 years. I've thought about you every single day. I've loved you every single day, Don't, I whispered. Don't say that. It's true. I got better, Emma. I got help. How? Help. Therapy, medication, everything. I rebuilt my life. I moved to Seattle, started over, but I never stopped loving you. I never stopped wondering if I made the biggest mistake of my life. Well, congratulations, I said bitterly. You did. I turned away from him, wrapping my arms around myself. My whole body was shaking. 8 years of my life, built on the foundation of his death. My marriage to Daniel, my children, my entire existence, all of it happened because I thought Ryan was gone. Are you married? He asked quietly. The question hit me like a physical blow. Yes, I whispered. I heard him take a sharp breath. Kids? 2. Sophie is 5. Lucas is 2. Silence. Heavy. Suffocating. Then I'm sorry, he said. I shouldn't have asked you to come up here. I should have just walked away. I just needed to see you one more time, to know you were okay. To know you were happy. I turned to face him. Happy. I laughed, but it came out broken. I don't even know what that word means anymore. I have a good life, a great life. My husband is wonderful. My kids are perfect. Everything is exactly how it should be. But, I took a shaky breath. Seeing you just now, hearing your voice, being this close to you, it brought back everything. And I realized that in 8 years of marriage, I have never felt what I felt when our eyes met in that lobby, not even close. He took a step toward me, then another, until we were inches apart. Emma, he whispered, his voice rough with emotion. Don't, I said, but I didn't move away. His hand came up slowly, hesitantly, and touched my cheek. Just the lightest touch, just fingers under my skin out. That electricity, that fire, that thing I thought was gone forever. I should have stepped back. I should have told him to leave. I should have remembered Daniel, waiting for me, at home. I should have remembered my children. I should have remembered my vows. But in that moment, all I could remember was what it felt like to be 22 years old and completely, devastatingly in love. His thumb brushed across my cheekbone, wiping away a tear. I never stopped, he whispered. 10 years, Emma. 10 years and not a single day where I didn't love you. Ryan, I breathed his name. And then his other hand was in my hair, and my hands were gripping his shirt, and we were kissing, not a gentle kiss. Not a sweet kiss. A desperate, drowning, 10 years of longing kiss. The kind of kiss that erases time. The kind of kiss that makes you forget everything else exists. I don't know how long we stood there, kissing like we were trying to make up for every lost second. It could have been minutes. It could have been hours. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathing hard. Both crying, both terrified. What are we doing? I whispered. I don't know, he said. But God, Emma, I've missed you. I've missed you so much it physically hurt. I have a family, I said, but even as I said it, I didn't let go of him. I know. I have a husband who loves me. I know. I can't do this. I know. But neither of us moved. Neither of us let go. Tell me about him, Ryan said finally. Tell me about your husband. Why? Because I need to know that you're happy. That, letting you go, wasn't the biggest mistake of my life. Tell me he treats you like a queen. Tell me he loves you the way you deserve to be loved. I stepped back, wrapping my arms around myself again. Daniel is, I paused, searching for the right words. He's everything a husband should be. He's kind, patient, supportive. He's an amazing father. He makes me laugh. He never forgets anniversaries or birthdays. He brings me coffee in bed. He tells me I'm beautiful even when I'm wearing his old t-shirt with spit up on it. He sounds perfect. He is, I said. He really is. But I looked up at Ryan, fresh tears spilling over. But he's not you. The words hung in the air between us. The truth I'd never admitted, not even to myself. The truth that was now impossible to ignore. Ryan closed his eyes, like the words physically hurt him. "What do we do now?" he asked. "I don't know," I whispered. "I honestly don't know." We stood there in silence for a long moment. The weight of 10 years, the weight of everything we'd lost and everything we'd built without each other, pressing down on both of us. "I should go," Ryan finally said. "This was a mistake. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry." "I'll leave you alone." He turned toward the door. "Wait," I heard myself say. He stopped but didn't turn around. "Where are you staying?" "Here, this hotel, room 1023. How long?" "Through the weekend." "I'm here for an architecture convention." The same convention my company sent me to, of course. The universe and its cruel sense of humor. "The conference starts tomorrow," I said. "Maybe we'll run into each other." He turned to look at me, his expression unreadable. "Is that what you want?" I didn't sleep that night. Not even a little. I lay in that hotel bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying everything over and over. Ryan's face, his touch, that kiss. The 10 years of grief that suddenly felt like a cruel joke. At 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Can't sleep without you next to me. Hotel bed to empty. Hope your conference is going well. Love you." I stared at that message for 20 minutes. Love you, to simple words that should have made me feel guilty, ashamed, horrible. And I did feel all those things. But I also felt angry. Angry at Daniel for being so perfect. Angry at Ryan for coming back from the dead. Angry at myself for wanting something I had no right to want. I typed and deleted 5 different responses before finally sending, "Love you too. Can't wait to be home. Liar." I was a liar. The conference started at 9 a.m. I put on my best professional outfit, did my makeup carefully to hide the fact that I'd been crying all night, and went downstairs. The conference hall was massive. Hundreds of people, marketing professionals on one side, architects on the other. A networking event, they called it. A chance for different industries to collaborate. I saw Ryan immediately. He was standing near the coffee station, talking to a woman in a red dress. He looked good, professional, put together. Like he hadn't spent the previous night kissing his supposedly dead ex-girlfriend. Our eyes met across the room. And there it was again, that pull. That magnetic force that had nothing to do with logic, or reason, or right or wrong. He excused himself from the conversation and walked toward me. "There it is insane. We can't do this. I'm married. I know. I have children. I know." "Then why are you still standing here?" "Because you haven't walked away either." He was right. I hadn't. I should have. But I hadn't. "Coffee?" he asked, and just like that, we fell into it. We sat in the hotel restaurant, drinking coffee, talking like no time had passed at all. He told me about his life in Seattle. His architecture firm, the buildings he'd designed. The therapy that saved his life. I told him about Sophie and Lucas, about Daniel. About the life I'd built from the ashes of losing him. It should have felt wrong. It should have felt like a betrayal. But instead, it felt like coming home. Hours passed. We missed our morning sessions. then our afternoon sessions. We just kept talking, kept looking at each other, kept existing in this impossible bubble where the rest of the world didn't matter. At 6 p.m., Ryan reached across the table and took my hand. "Come with me," he said. "Where? Anywhere. Everywhere. Leave with me right now. We'll figure out the rest later." "Ryan," I pulled my hand back. "I can't just leave. I have a family. A family you built because you thought I was dead. That doesn't make them less real. Sophie and Lucas, they're real. They need me. And what about what you need, Emma? When do you get to choose what you want?" I wanted to scream, because he was right. When did I get to choose? I'd spent 8 years being the perfect wife, the perfect mother, putting everyone else first. And I was good at it. I was happy, or at least I thought I was. But sitting there with Ryan, I remembered what it felt like to be young and reckless, and completely consumed by love. I remembered what it felt like to want something so badly it hurt. I need to tinily sing how much, Chimi? I don't know. More than a weekend. That's for sure. He nodded slowly. "Okay, I'll wait. I've waited 10 years. Emma, I can wait a little longer." That night, we went to his room. I told myself we were just going to talk. I told myself I wasn't going to cross any more lines. I told myself a lot of things. We sat on his bed, not touching, just talking. He showed me photos of buildings he'd designed. I showed him photos of Sophie and Lucas. "Look," I said, pointing to a picture of Lucas on his 2nd birthday. "He has your smile." Ryan stared at that photo for a long time. "Does he know about me?" He asked quietly. "Daniel?" "Yes." I told him everything when we first started dating. About you, about the accident, about how much I loved you. He never judged me for it. He just loved me anyway. He sounds like a good man. He is. He really is. Do you love him? The question I'd been avoiding. The question I didn't want to answer. Because the truth was complicated, messy, unfair to everyone involved. "Yes," I said finally. "I love Daniel. He's my best friend. He's an incredible father. He's been there for me in ways you never could be. But I'm not in love with him. Not the way I was." I paused. "Not the way I am with you." There it was, the truth, out loud, in the open. No taking it back. Ryan leaned toward me. His hand cupped my face. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. "Tell me this is wrong. Tell me you're going back to your husband and never looking back. Tell me anything that will make me stop loving you." "I can't," I whispered back. And then we were kissing again. But this time it was different. Slower, deeper, more intentional. This wasn't just about lost time or old feelings. This was a choice. A conscious decision to cross a line I could never uncross. I spent that night in his room. We didn't sleep. We just held each other, talked, kissed, existed in our own little world where consequences didn't exist. At 5 a.m., reality came crashing back. My phone rang Daniel's name on the screen. I answered, my heart pounding. "Hey, babe." His voice was cheerful. "Sorry for calling so early. Sophie woke up, asking for you. Want to say hi?" Before I could respond, I heard my daughter's voice. "Mommy, when are you coming home?" I looked at Ryan, lying next to me in bed. Then I looked at my phone, at the life I'd built, the life waiting for me at home. "Hi, baby," I said, my voice shaking. "Mommy will be home soon. I promise." I hung up her, not full baby subs. Because I realized in that moment what I'd done. I'd cheated on my husband. I'd betrayed the man who saved me. I'd risked everything for a ghost from my past. Ryan held me while I cried. He didn't try to make excuses. He just held me. I have to go home, I said finally. I have to go back to Daniel. I know, he said. But I don't know if I can stay there. Not now. Not after this. Then don't come back to me. It's not that simple. Why not? Life is short. Emma, we lost 10 years. Don't you think we've lost enough time? I pulled away from him, started getting dressed. You don't understand. It's not just about me and you. There are children involved. A man who doesn't deserve to have his heart broken. A life that I've built that actually means something. And what about us? Doesn't that mean something? Of course it does. But that doesn't make this okay. That doesn't make this right. I left his room at 6 a.m., went back to my own room. Took a scalding hot shower, trying to wash away the guilt. It didn't work. The conference ended that day. I flew home that evening. Daniel picked me up at the airport with the kids. Sophie ran to me. Lucas toddled behind her. Daniel kissed my cheek. How was it? Good. I lied. Productive. That night, lying in bed next to Daniel, I felt like I was living a double life. Part of me was here, in this bed, in this house, in this life. But part of me was still in Seattle, in room 1023, wrapped around a man who was supposed to be dead. Days turned into weeks. Ryan texted me every day, nothing inappropriate. Just good morning, hope you're okay, thinking of you. I never responded. But I also never blocked his number. Daniel started noticing something was wrong. You've been distant, he said one night after the kids were in bed. Is everything okay? Just stressed from work. I lied. He didn't believe me. I could see it in his eyes. But he didn't push. That was Daniel. Always giving me space. Always trusting me. Always being perfect. And I hated him for it. God, I hated how perfect he was. Because it would be so much easier if he was terrible. If he cheated or hit me or ignored me. But he didn't. He was exactly what every woman said she wanted. He just wasn't what I wanted anymore. 3 weeks after Seattle, Ryan showed up in my city. He texted me from a hotel downtown. I'm here. I had to see you. Just 1 hour, please. I should have said no. I should have deleted the message. I should have blocked him and moved on with my life. Instead, I told Daniel I had a work emergency. I left him with the kids and drove to that hotel. Ryan was waiting in the lobby. When he saw me, he slayed my heart. My stupid, treacherous heart. We went to his room. We talked. We kissed. We did more than kiss. And this chimney I aft. This time, I felt alive in a way I hadn't felt in years. This is crazy, I said, lying in his arms. I'm living a double life. I can't keep doing this. Then leave him, Ryan said. I know it's hard. I know it's complicated. But Emma, life is too short to be with someone out of obligation. It's not obligation. I do love him, but me. Not the way I love you. Then what are we doing? What's the plan here? I don't know, I said honestly. I don't have a plan. I don't have answers. All I know is that I can't imagine never seeing you again. But I also can't imagine breaking my children's hearts. So we're stuck. Yeah, we're stuck. Over the next month, Ryan came to visit 3 more times. Each time, I lied to Daniel. Work events, girls' night out. A sick friend who needed help. The lies came easier each time. That's what scared me most. How easy it had become to deceive the man I'd promised to be honest with. Then one night, everything changed. I came home from seeing Ryan. It was late, almost midnight. I expected Daniel to be asleep, but he was sitting in the living room, lights on, waiting for me. My phone was on the coffee table in front of him. I'd forgotten it at home, and Ryan had texted. "I'm counting the hours until I see you again. I love you, Emma. I always have." Daniel looked up at me. His eyes were red. He'd been crying. Who is he? His voice was quiet, calm, which somehow made it worse. I couldn't speak. My whole body went cold. "Emma, who is he? How long has this been going on?" I stood there, frozen, watching my perfect life crumble around me. "His name is Ryan," I finally said. "And he's someone I should have told you about a long time ago. You told me about Ryan, your first love, the one who died." "He didn't die," I whispered. "He's alive." And I ran into him at the conference in Seattle. Daniel's face went white. "The conference was 6 weeks ago." "Yes." "So you've been seeing him for 6 weeks. You've been lying to me for 6 weeks. I'm sorry." He stood up, started pacing. "Are you sleeping with him?" Silence, which was answer enough. Daniel grabbed the back of the couch like he needed it to stay standing. "Jesus, Emma, Jesus Christ." "I'm sorry," I said again, tears streaming down my face. "I never meant for this to happen." "You never meant for it to happen." He spun to face me. "You made a choice, multiple choices. Every time you texted him. Every time you met him. Every time you lied to me. Those were choices, Emma. He was right. Of course he was right." "Do you love him?" Daniel asked. I couldn't answer. "Do you love him?" He asked again, his voice breaking. "Yes," I whispered. I never stopped. Daniel sat down heavily on the couch. Put his head in his hands. "You know what the worst part is?" he said after a long moment. "Always knew. Deep down, I always knew I was competing with a ghost. I thought if I was patient enough, loving enough, good enough, eventually you'd let him go. But I can't compete with him, can I? Not now that he's real again." "Daniel, you're an amazing husband, an amazing father. This isn't about you not being enough. Then what is it about?" I took a shaky breath. "It's about me realizing that I've been living half a life. I love you. I do. But I'm not in love with you, and you deserve someone who is. Someone who looks at you the way I look at him." He wiped his eyes, looked up at me. "So that's it. 8 years of marriage, to kids, and you're just going to throw it all away for some guy who literally faked his death and abandoned you?" "He didn't fake it. It was complicated." Daniel laughed bitterly. "It was complicated. That's your defense." "I don't have a defense. I know what I did was wrong. I know I hurt you. But I also know that I can't keep pretending. I can't keep being the wife you deserve when my heart is somewhere else. What about Sophie and Lucas? What about them? They'll always be my priority. They'll always come first. Really, because walking out on their father doesn't exactly scream priority. I'm not walking out. I'm being honest. Finally, for the first time in our entire marriage, I'm being completely honest with you." "Well, congratulations," he said bitterly. "Your honesty just destroyed our family." He was right. I had destroyed our family, and I hated myself for it. But I also couldn't deny what I felt. I couldn't keep living a lie. "I'll sleep in the guest room tonight," I said quietly. "We can figure out the details tomorrow." "Yeah," Daniel said. "We'll figure out the details. Like how to explain to our 5-year-old daughter why Mommy doesn't live here anymore. Like how to split custody of our 2-year-old son. Like how to divide 8 years of life into yours and mine. Super easy, nothing complicated about that." Before I could respond, I heard a small voice from the stairs. Mommy, Daddy, why are you yelling? Sophie, standing there in her princess pajamas, holding her stuffed bunny, looking terrified. Daniel and I both froze. Everything's fine, baby, I said, my voice shaking. Go back to bed, but Sophie didn't move. She looked at me at Daniel, then back to me. Even at 5 years old, she knew something was very wrong. Okay, I need you to tell me something right now. Because this is where everything falls apart. This is where I have to make the choice that will define the rest of my life. Do I choose the passionate, all-consuming love with Ryan, the man who makes me feel alive but also abandoned me? Or do I choose Daniel, the stable, safe, perfect man who deserves better than someone who's in love with someone else? Drop your comment right now. Because what happens next, you need to help me decide. And make sure you're subscribed because part 3 is going to absolutely destroy you. I put Sophie back to bed that night. She asked me 3 times if Mommy and Daddy were getting divorced. I lied 3 times and said no. She didn't believe me. Kids always know. After she finally fell asleep, I went to the guest room like I said I would, but I couldn't sleep. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, listening to the sounds of the house I'd called home for 8 years. Around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. Ryan, can't sleep. Keep thinking about you. When can I see you again? I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, Daniel knows about everything. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, is this it then? Are you leaving him? Was I really going to blow up my entire life for a man who disappeared for 10 years? Was I going to take my children's father away from them because I couldn't control my own feelings? I don't know. I typed back. I need time. I'm ready. Whatever you decide, I'm here. I put my phone away and finally fell into a restless sleep. The next morning, Daniel and I sat at the kitchen table after dropping Sophie at school. Lucas was with Daniel's mother. We needed to talk without little ears listening. I want a divorce, I said quietly. It's not fair to keep doing this to you. Daniel stared into his coffee cup. Just like that 8 years and you're done. It's not just like that. You know it's not. Do I? Because from where I'm sitting, some guy shows up after a decade and suddenly I'm chopped liver. The guy who actually stayed, who actually showed up every single day. Who actually chose you, his words hit like physical blows. Because he was right. He had chosen me every single day. And I was throwing it away. You deserve someone who's all in, I said. Someone who doesn't have one foot in the past. Maybe I don't want someone else. Maybe I want my wife. The mother of my children. The woman I've built a life with. Even if she doesn't love you the way you deserve. He looked at me, finally. His eyes were red and exhausted. Do you really love him, Emma? Or are you just in love with the idea of him, the fantasy? Because the Ryan you're chasing isn't the Ryan who left you. That Ryan was broken and selfish enough to fake his own death, rather than fight for you. Is that really the man you want? I'd thought about this. Of course I'd thought about this. The Ryan I fell in love with at 22 was different from the Ryan I met at that hotel. 10 years changes people. Trauma changes people. But when I was with him, none of that mattered. When I was with him, I felt like myself, not Daniel's wife. Not Sophie and Lucas's mom. Just Emma, the girl who used to stay up all night talking about philosophy. The girl who believed in soulmates and destiny and love that transcends everything. I love him, I said finally. I know it's inconvenient. I know it's messy, but yes, I really love him. Daniel nodded slowly, then stood up. Okay, I'll move into the guest room. We'll tell the kids together when you're ready. And I'll call a lawyer. Wait, that's it. You're just giving up. He turned to look at me, and the pain in his eyes nearly broke me. I'm not giving up, Emma. I'm setting you free. Because that's what people do when they love someone. They let them go. Even when it kills them. He walked out of the kitchen, and I heard the guest room door close. I sat there alone at the table we'd bought together when we first moved into this house. Remembered the morning rituals, Daniel making pancakes on Sundays, Sophie trying to flip them and making a mess, Lucas giggling in his high chair. The ordinary, beautiful life I'd built, and I was walking away from it. I called Ryan. He answered on the first ring. He agreed to the divorce, I said. No voice, just facts. Are you okay? No. But I'm doing it anyway. When can I see you? Not yet. I need to tell the kids first. I need to figure out custody. I need time to do this right. Okay, I'll wait. That's all he said. I'll wait. Like it was easy. Like he hadn't already proven he was good at leaving, but I pushed that thought away. This was different. We were different now. We were both older, wiser, supposedly more capable of handling what we couldn't handle at 22. The next week was hell. Daniel and I existed in the same house, but in different worlds. We were polite around the kids. We slept in separate rooms. We divided our lives into before and after without ever saying it out loud. Sophie knew something was wrong. She became clingy, crying at bedtime, asking why Daddy wasn't sleeping in the big bed anymore. We told her he hurt his back and needed the firm mattress in the guest room. She didn't believe us. 2 weeks after that terrible night, Daniel and I sat Sophie down to tell her the truth. We chose a Saturday morning. Lucas was too young to understand, so it was just the three of us. Sweetie, Mommy and Daddy need to talk to you about something important, Daniel started. Sophie looked between us, her little face already worried. Are you getting divorced? Daniel and I exchanged glances. How did she even know that word? Yes, honey, I said gently. But that doesn't mean we love you any less. Not even a little bit. Sophie's eyes filled with tears. Is it because of me? Did I do something wrong? Oh, baby, no. Daniel pulled her into his lap. This has nothing to do with you. Sometimes grown-ups just can't stay married. But we both love you and Lucas so much. Where will I live? Sophie asked through her tears. You'll live here with Daddy most of the time, I said, each word cutting me like glass. But you'll spend lots of time with Mommy too. And we'll all still be a family, just a different kind of family. I don't want a different kind of family, Sophie sobbed. I want our family. I wanted to die, right there. Just cease to exist, rather than watch my daughter's heart break, because of choices I'd made. After we calmed Sophie down and put her in front of her favorite movie, Daniel and I sat in the kitchen in silence. She hates me, I said. She doesn't hate you. She's scared. Kids are resilient. She adjusts. Will she, or will this screw her up forever? Daniel looked at me, probably both, but that's the choice you made. I filed for divorce the following week. Ryan helped me find an apartment near Daniel's house so the kids could easily go back and forth. A cute two-bedroom place with big windows. Sophie would have her own room. Lucas would stay with me on weekends. It all felt surreal, packing up 8 years of life into boxes. Deciding what was mine and what was ours and what was his. Every item a memory, every memory a stab of guilt. Daniel was eerily calm through it all, almost cold. I preferred it when he was angry, anger I could handle. This polite distance was unbearable. Moving day came. Ryan offered to help, but I said no. This I had to do alone. Daniel watched from the porch as I loaded the last box into my car. Sophie stood next to him, holding his hand, her little face confused and sad. I walked up to say goodbye. "Bye, Mommy," Sophie whispered. "I'll see you this weekend," I promised. "We'll do something fun, just you and me." She nodded but didn't smile. I looked at Daniel. "Thank you for everything, for being patient, for being kind. I'm sorry I couldn't be what you needed." "You were exactly what I needed," he said quietly. "I just wasn't what you needed. And I'll spend the rest of my life wondering what I could have done differently. Nothing. You did nothing wrong. This is all me." "Yeah, it is." He took Sophie's hand and walked back into the house. Our house. His house now. I drove to my new apartment with tears streaming down my face, wondering if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. Ryan was waiting at my apartment when I arrived. He'd brought flowers, wine, Chinese takeout. He helped me unpack. He held me when I cried. He told me everything would be okay. And for a moment, wrapped in his arms in my new empty apartment, I believed him. We fell into a relationship quickly. Too quickly, maybe, but we'd already wasted 10 years. What was the point of going slow? Ryan was attentive, romantic, passionate, everything I remembered and more. He took me to fancy dinners. We stayed up all night, talking like we used to. The sex was incredible, that same fire we'd always had. But something was different, or maybe I was different. Sophie's visits were hard. She was polite but distant. She barely spoke to Ryan the one time I introduced them. She asked, constantly, when she could go back to Daddy's house. Lucas was too young to understand, but I could see him getting confused. He'd cry for Daniel in the middle of the night. He'd wake up and seem surprised I was there instead of his father. I was breaking my children's hearts. And for what? For passion. For the fantasy of the love I'd had at 22. 6 weeks into living with Ryan, we had our first real fight. He wanted me to meet his parents. His friends. He wanted to build a life together. "I'm not ready," I said. "My kids are still adjusting. They're always going to be adjusting. At some point you have to choose to move forward." "I am moving forward. I left my husband. I moved in with you. What more do you want? I want you to be happy." "But Emma, you don't seem happy. You seem guilty and torn and miserable." "Because I am guilty and torn and miserable. My 5-year-old daughter barely looks at me. My son cries for his father every night. I destroyed my family for this. For this. Is that what I am to you? An inconvenience? No, that's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" "I meant that maybe Daniel was right. Maybe I'm not in love with you. Maybe I'm in love with who we were. The fantasy, the idea of the great love story that got interrupted." Ryan stared at me. "After everything, after I came back, after you left your marriage, now you're saying this. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm confused and tired and I miss my kids and I don't know if I made the right choice." "Well, that's just great. That's perfect. I waited 10 years for you. I rebuilt myself for you. And now you're not sure." The fight escalated. Things were said that couldn't be unsaid. Ryan left and didn't come back for 2 days. In those 2 days, I did a lot of thinking. I thought about Daniel, how he never once raised his voice at me in 8 years. How he always put the kids first. How he loved me steadily, reliably, safely. I thought about Sophie's little face when I dropped her off after our weekend together. How she ran to Daniel's arms like she was returning to safety. I thought about Lucas calling for Dada in his sleep. And I thought about Ryan, the passion, the intensity, the love that had consumed me for so long. But was passion enough? Was intensity enough when you had children depending on you? When Ryan finally came back, I had made my decision. I can't do this, I said. I thought I could. But I can't. His face fell. Emma, please. We can work through this. No, we can't. Because this isn't about us anymore. It hasn't been about us for a long time. It's about two kids who need stability. It's about a man I made vows to. It's about the fact that I was willing to destroy everything for a feeling. It's not just a feeling. It's love. Is it? Or is it just unfinished business? The story we never got to complete. Because Ryan, I've been thinking. We were 22 when we fell in love. We were young and stupid and passionate. But we weren't compatible. You had demons you wouldn't let me help with. I had needs you couldn't meet. We fought constantly. It was toxic as much as it was beautiful. We're different now, are we? Because we just had the same kind of explosive fight we used to have. The same patterns. The same problems. Just 10 years older. So that's it. You're giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm choosing reality over fantasy. I'm choosing my children over my feelings. I'm choosing the man who actually stayed over the man who ran away. I didn't run away. I was sick. I was trying to protect you by faking your death, by letting me grieve for 10 years. That's not protection, Ryan. That's abandonment. And I'm done making excuses for it. Ryan stood there, and I could see him struggling. Part of him wanted to fight. Part of him knew I was right. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. I'm sorry for dragging you into this, for making you hope, for making promises I couldn't keep. You deserve better. Do you love him, your husband? I thought about Daniel, dependable, steady, patient Daniel. Daniel who loved me through my grief. Daniel who built a beautiful life with me. Daniel who never asked me to be anyone other than who I was. Yes, I said finally, I do. Maybe not the way I love you. But it's real. It's solid. It's the kind of love you build a life on, and that's enough for you. It has to be. Because the alternative is destroying my children, and I can't do that. I won't do that. Ryan nodded slowly. Kissed my forehead one last time. Be happy, Emma, he whispered. That's all I ever wanted for you. And then he left. For real this time. No dramatic speeches. No promises to wait. Just a simple goodbye to a love that was never meant to survive in the real world. I called Daniel that night. Can we talk? I asked. His voice was cautious. About what? About us. About the possibility of an us again. Silence on the other end. Emma, I can't keep doing this. I can't be your backup plan. You're not my backup plan. You were always my real plan. I just got distracted by a ghost from my past. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. For hurting you. For hurting the kids. For being selfish and stupid and blind to what I already had. What are you saying? I'm saying I made a mistake. A huge, life-altering mistake. I'm saying that I'm in love with the idea of passion and romance. But what I actually need is stability and partnership, and someone who shows up. And that's you. It's always been you. I was just too stupid to see it. Another long silence. Where's Ryan? Gone. For good this time. I ended it. Why? Because I finally realized that the love story I was chasing wasn't real. It was nostalgia and fantasy and the version of myself I was at 22. But I'm not 22 anymore. I'm 35. I'm a mother. And what I need isn't someone who makes my heart race. What I need is someone who makes me feel safe. Someone who makes our kids feel safe. I hear what you're saying, Daniel said carefully. But Emma, I need you to understand something. If you come back, this is it. No more Ryan, no more fantasizing about what could have been. You have to be all in. 100%. Because I won't survive you leaving again. I understand. And I am all in, I promise, if you'll have me back. If you can forgive me, forgiveness takes time. Trust takes even longer. I know, and I'll spend however long it takes earning both back. Please, Daniel, please give me another chance. The kids come first. Always. Always. I agreed. They're my priority. You're all my priority. There was a long pause. I could almost hear him thinking, weighing, deciding if I was worth the risk. Okay, he finally said, but we do this right. Couples therapy, taking it slow. You moving back into the guest room at first. We rebuild from the ground up. Whatever you need. But everything here up, 2 weeks late. Sophie burst into tears when she saw my boxes. Happy tears this time. Lucas didn't understand what was happening, but he was excited Mommy was there at bedtime. It wasn't easy. Daniel kept his distance. We slept in separate rooms for 3 months. We went to therapy twice a week. I had to earn back his trust one day at a time, one small action at a time. But slowly, gradually, we found our way back to each other. 6 months after I moved back home, Daniel finally kissed me again. It wasn't like kissing Ryan. It wasn't passionate or desperate or earth-shattering, but it was real. It was solid. It was the kiss of someone who chose to love me, even after I'd broken his heart. And I realized something. Love isn't just about passion and intensity and feelings that consume you. Love is also about choice, about showing up, about building something together brick by brick, even when it's hard. Ryan was the love that felt like falling. Daniel is the love that feels like coming home, and home is where I belong. It's been a year now since everything happened. Sophie is back to her happy self. Lucas doesn't remember any of it. Daniel and I are stronger than we've ever been. Not because we didn't break, but because we chose to rebuild. I think about Ryan sometimes. Wonder if he's happy. Wonder if he found someone who can give him what can I hope he did. He's that. But I drois. Not anymore. Because I finally learned the difference between the love you feel and the love you choose. Between the love that burns bright and fast and the love that grows steady and deep. Ryan was my first love, my passionate love, my once upon a time. But Daniel is my always, my real, my forever. And that's worth more than any fantasy. So here I am, still married, still a mother, still choosing the beautiful, ordinary life I almost threw away. And you know what? I wouldn't change it for anything.